One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. Mike, you guys are currently hosting a baseball regional there in Lubbock. Thrilling game last night where Texas Tech beat New Mexico in the bottom of the ninth inning on a pickoff of all plays to end the game. So pretty interesting ending. You had a great crowd, 4,700 at the New Mexico game last night. And I really want to start with a macro, high-level question for those who are in your position, and actually more so maybe those who are in the business but don't have a real great sense about facilities and operations. Simply put, what does it take for a team like yours to put on an event like a regional where you have 4 teams in town for 3 or more days, multiple games per day, and also give us some kind of inside nuts and bolts on what the most difficult aspects of hosting this type of event are?
Well, first, thanks for calling us. We appreciate it. I would say on the macro level, the first thing it takes is people, just really good people. And we're fortunate here that we've got a good veteran group of, especially in operations. Steve Maines is our tournament director and does an excellent job, and Sandy Collins as well. Set up the bids, took care of all of that, secured hotels, and really got the ball rolling with that, got the bid turned back into the NCAA. So that's really the first step. So, people across the board, there's so many different areas that are affected. You think about our administration, our facilities maintenance team, our grounds team. The list goes on, concessions, merchandise, police, parking, ushers, ticket takers. Media relations is a huge part of this, how they handle their stuff. Our marketing team, the ticket office, they've got their hands as full as anybody, trying to figure out who gets what tickets and how that process goes. Our sports medicine team, there's a trainer that's assigned to each school to help them out, so it's a large undertaking for them as well. And then you get into others, our development staff, our equipment staff. So I don't know how many I just named, but that's a lot of different people, and in a lot of those areas, several different people. And then you talk about our baseball staff, what they do and how they do it. They're a likable bunch. And so it makes it easy for the rest of us to want to work their games and root for them. They're just good, genuine people. And then, of course, our site reps that the NCAA sends to us have been magnificent, and they're a crucial part to how this thing runs. So, that's what it takes is good people, and then just the preparation, making sure everybody is reading the manuals and understanding it's an NCAA event, and we've got to do things a certain way. And then once that happens, we communicate amongst ourselves to make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and we're ready to go. So that's kind of a very high, the 30,000-foot snapshot of how this thing runs.
So let's kind of zoom in some more. And you would have learned last Sunday night that you guys were a host. So walk me through the 5 days leading up to Friday for all of those departments you mentioned. Give me an idea of how meetings take place, how many meetings take place, and how the coordination of communication works over that 5-day period leading up to the first game on Friday.
Well, we were fortunate that we had a pretty good idea we were going to host, and we were kind of in the same boat in 2014. We didn't end up getting a regional, but we really sharpened our pencils and came up with a plan, put manuals together in 2014 just in case we would host. And we ended up hosting a super regional that year, which helped. So that preparation started a couple years ago. We, of course, saved all the manuals. Steve Maines, again, is our tournament manager and really the brains behind what we do with communication and how we do it. But once we got into this season, in April, we had a meeting with several of the departments I mentioned. Just to, let's make sure everybody is looking at this. It's on your radar. It's the first day of summer. Your kids get out of school, and so there's vacations and stuff. You got to make sure people understand, hey, we might be hosting baseball. And so that went well. And then in May, as we got closer during finals week, we had another meeting just to review everything, make sure everybody had the resources and the personnel they needed to host. And then when we reflected on Sunday night, an email went out making sure everybody was alerted that we were hosting. And then, of course, most of us watched the selection show on Monday. And then we had a meeting on Tuesday, and it was more of a review meeting that Steve led. And we just went area by area of what needs to happen and how we need to do it. And then, there's a lot of side meetings with parking and tickets and others that not necessarily the whole group met as one, but there were side meetings. And then on Thursday, we had the administration meeting with the head coaches, administrators, the umpires, that type of thing that each site goes through, just to one last meeting, make sure we're all on the same page with timelines and protocols. So that's more or less how it goes. So we probably had 4 or 5 different meetings as a group just to make sure we were all on the same page and each area was doing their part.
And that 2014 Super Regional, was that College of Charleston?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 2014 you host a Super. 2 years later, you're now hosting a regional. Depending on what happens today as we record this interview, by the end of today, you may be hosting another Super, of course, if you win the regional. What aspects of that 2014 experience of hosting the Super Regional against CFC did you guys want to improve on going into this year's regionals?
I thought we did a really good job in 2014. We're fortunate that again, Steve was here. Sandy Collins, our director of event management, was here. So we had a pretty good plan. All our coaching staff has remained intact. There were a few things we wanted to improve on, but we thought we did pretty well then. I can't think of one area in particular. The ticketing, I think our ticket people could probably answer that better. There's such a great outpour of support here in Lubbock, and only having 4,700 tickets available, that's a tough task for our ticket people and our development people to get tickets in the right hands of people and try to be fair to our supporters. So I think they may have done things a little bit different, but overall, we really used that as a blueprint to how to run this regional.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.